Have you ever noticed how some people gain power when you react? Your reaction is their weapon. But silence is your shield. Today, I'll share Stoic lessons that can help you master this art and protect your peace. If you believe we need more calm in this noisy world, hit that like button right now and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every week. Let's dive in, because what you're about to learn can change the way you live and the way you handle chaos. Lesson 1. The silent victory. Have you ever wondered why some people try so hard to get under your skin? It's simple. They need your reaction to survive. The weak live off your responses. The strong, they live off their own silence. When you stop reacting, you take away the only weapon. They have your attention and your energy. Think about that. How many battles in your life were never yours to fight, but you fought them because someone pushed your buttons? And what did you get in return? Exhaustion, regret, maybe even more conflict. I remember a man I knew years ago, a colleague who always wanted to provoke me. He'd make little comments, drop hints, trying to lure me into an argument. The younger me would have snapped back, eager to prove a point. But age and Stoic wisdom taught me something different. When you stay silent, you win without a fight. And that drove him mad. Not because I hurt him, but because I denied him what he craved most: control over my emotions. The greatest enemy your critics will ever face is not your retaliation, it's your quiet transformation. When you grow so much that the old version of you becomes unrecognizable, every insult they threw at that old you turns to dust. It no longer fits the person you've become. And here's something I've learned after 60 years of watching life unfold. Time and truth are sharper than any sword. Every mask will fall. Every lie will crumble under its own weight. You don't need to rush justice. It's already on its way. Your only job: stay steady, stay focused, keep building. The ultimate victory is when your enemy ceases to exist in your mind. That moment when their words no longer have power, because the cord between their actions and your emotions is cut forever. That's real freedom. So yes, take the pain, take the hate, but use it as fuel. Not to burn them down, but to build yourself up, to become calmer, wiser, stronger. That's the most devastating revenge: living so well that their existence becomes irrelevant. Remember, this silence is not weakness. Silence is strength disguised as calm. It's the roar that nobody hears, but everybody feels. And trust me, nothing confuses your enemies more than your peace. Let them be loud, let them gossip, let them hate, because noise builds nothing, but silence builds empires. Question for you: have you ever chosen silence instead of revenge? What happened? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. If this resonates with you, like this video, share it with a friend who needs this reminder. Subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every week. Lesson 2. When silence becomes your greatest weapon. There's a moment in life when you realize fighting back isn't always strength. Sometimes strength looks like stillness. Sometimes silence is the sharpest blade you can carry. Think about the last time someone insulted you. Did answering back make you feel lighter, or did it leave a bitter aftertaste? Retaliation often feels good for a second, but it keeps the wound open. Silence, on the other hand, allows it to heal. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." And that's the truth we keep forgetting. Every time we respond with anger, we mirror the very person we wish to rise above. We become their reflection instead of our own standard. I've worked with men and women in their 60s who still carried the weight of grudges. Not because of what happened, but because they couldn't stop replaying it in their minds. They kept speaking the story long after the enemy was gone. Do you know what that does? It gives life to ghosts. When you refuse to speak, you reclaim your power. You tell the world, "I will not live as a reaction to someone else's chaos." And in that quiet space, you grow. You find clarity. You begin to build instead of destroy. One day, those who tried to pull you down will watch you standing so high they can't even reach your shadow. Not because you fought them, but because you never left your path. Silence is not surrender. It is strategy. It is wisdom, wearing the cloak of patience. And when the dust settles, the one who stayed calm will always be the last one standing. Lesson 3. Transforming pain into strength. Have you ever carried a wound so deep it changed the way you see the world? Pain often feels like an anchor. It drags us back. It traps us in old battles. But pain can also become fire, a fire that forges you into something unbreakable. The Stoics believed every hardship carries a hidden gift, but only if you choose to see it. Life offers no guarantees. People will betray you. Plans will collapse. Dreams will shatter. What you do next, that decides who you become. I once spoke to a man who lost everything. His career, his marriage, even his sense of self. He told me something I will never forget. For months, I wanted to punish the world for what it took from me. Then one day, I realized the only thing worth punishing was my own weakness. From that day, he rebuilt. Discipline became his compass. Growth became his revenge. That's the lesson: strength born from suffering doesn't just survive, it thrives. When you refuse to break, every scar becomes proof of resilience. And those who hurt you, they fade into the background. Because progress speaks louder than betrayal. Anger will burn you alive if you feed it. But if you master it, that same fire will light your way forward. Have you ever turned pain into power? What helped you make that shift? Share your story. I'd love to hear it. If this speaks to you, like this video. Share it with someone who needs this. And subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every week. Click the link in the description. Lesson 4. When walking away is the real victory. There is power in walking away. Not in defeat, but in mastery. Because leaving isn't losing. Sometimes it is the loudest declaration that you cannot be controlled. The world teaches you to fight, to prove yourself, to defend your worth. But the Stoics remind us not every battle deserves a warrior. The real enemy isn't the one throwing insults. It's the need inside you to answer them. Picture this. A man screaming in the street, desperate for a fight. Who looks stronger? The one shouting, or the one who calmly walks on? Strength is not in the volume of your voice. It is in the weight of your restraint. I've seen lives destroyed, not by what was said, but by the energy wasted trying to prove someone wrong. Years lost chasing apologies or seeking revenge that never healed the wound. Sometimes peace is found in a single choice: to walk away and never look back. Lesson 5. The power of choosing your battles. Not every fight deserves your presence. Some people shout not because they're right, but because they need attention. And the moment you give it to them, you've lost. The Stoics taught that the greatest victory is over yourself. When you master the impulse to prove someone wrong, you step into a level of strength most will never know. I've seen this truth play out countless times. In relationships, in careers, even in families. Two people arguing, both convinced they're winning, when in reality, both are prisoners of their own pride. The one who refuses to be dragged into chaos, that's the truly free soul. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. It's the ultimate declaration that your peace is worth more than their noise. And here's the irony: the more you ignore their attempts to provoke you, the louder their frustration becomes. Why? Because your calm reminds them of their own lack of control. Every time you choose peace over reaction, you're investing in something far more powerful than winning an argument. You're investing in yourself. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this worth my dignity? Most of the time, the answer is no. What about you? Have you ever walked away from a fight and realized later it was the best decision you ever made? Tell me your story in the comments. I read everyone. If this message resonates like this video, share it with someone who needs this, and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every week. Link in the description. Lesson 6. Why their opinion doesn't define you. One of the greatest freedoms in life is this understanding that what people think of you is none of your business. Yet most of us live as prisoners of other people's judgment. We adjust our words, our choices, even our dreams, just to avoid criticism. But here's the truth. No matter what you do, someone will always disapprove. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That means the problem isn't their opinion, it's your attachment to it. The moment you stop assigning weight to their judgment, you reclaim your peace. Think about this: when someone insults you, they're not describing you, they're revealing themselves. Their words are a reflection of their own insecurities, not your reality. So why let their chaos rent space in your mind? Imagine the energy you'd save if you stopped fighting shadows. Imagine the freedom of living true to your principles, even when the world misunderstands you. That is the Stoic path to measure your worth by your own virtues, not by applause or criticism. In the end, their opinion fades. What remains is who you became while ignoring the noise. Lesson 7. The quietest revenge is success. Revenge has a way of trapping us in the past. You think hurting them will make you free, but all it really does is keep you chained to the same wound. The Stoics saw this clearly. The best revenge is not payback, it's progress. When you rise so high that your old self becomes unrecognizable, the insults, the betrayals, the lies, they lose all meaning. I've met people who spent years plotting revenge, only to find themselves bitter and broken long after their enemies had moved on. And I've met others who turned that same pain into fuel. They built businesses, raised families, cultivated wisdom. They lived so well that the people who tried to destroy them were left behind, powerless and forgotten. That's what real strength looks like, not in making them suffer, but in making their existence irrelevant. So when life wounds, you don't waste your energy fighting shadows. Use that energy to become something greater, because the quietest revenge is not in what you do to them, it's in who you become without them. Let me ask you this. Have you ever turned hurt into motivation and ended up living a life so good it silenced your critics? Share your story in the comments. I'd love to hear it. If this spoke to you like the video, share it with someone who needs it and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every week. Lesson 8. Freedom begins where reaction ends. The world is full of traps, and most of them are disguised as words. A careless remark, a sharp criticism, an insult thrown like a stone. These are the hooks that pull us into battles we don't need to fight. But here's a truth most never learn: the moment you stop reacting, you become untouchable. Reaction is control handed over on a silver platter. Every time you explode in anger or rush to defend yourself, you give someone else the keys to your peace. The Stoics knew this centuries ago. They trained their minds to pause, to step back, to ask, "Is this worth my soul?" Because that's what's at stake, not just your mood, but your mastery. Think of the strongest person you know. Are they the loudest voice in the room? Or the calmest true power doesn't shout? It doesn't flinch. It stands still like a mountain in the wind. And when you live like that, something amazing happens. You stop living as a reaction to someone else's chaos. You start living on your own terms. That is the foundation of freedom, the kind no one can take from you. Lesson 9. Don't let their darkness dim your light. Some people carry storms inside them, and they want nothing more than to pull you in. They poke, they provoke, they push all to see if you'll drown in the same chaos they live in. And too often we take the bait. We respond in anger, defend our pride, and in doing so, we become like them. But here's the truth. You don't have to join their storm. You can choose the sky instead. The Stoics believe that no one can harm your soul without your permission. That means the real battlefield isn't out there, it's inside you. Every insult, every attack is just a test. Will you guard your peace or hand it over? I've seen people spend years trying to win arguments only to lose themselves. And I've seen others rise above walking calmly through fire without being burned. Not because life was easy, but because they refused to let bitterness in. That's the kind of strength we need more of today, the strength to stay kind in a cruel world, calm in a noisy one, and bright when everything around you is dark. What about you? Have you ever chosen peace when anger seemed easier? How did it change you? Share your thoughts in the comments, I'd love to hear them. If this message resonates like the video, share it with someone who needs this and subscribe for more Stoic wisdom every week. Lesson 10. The art of winning without fighting. Not every victory comes with a trophy. Some of the greatest victories are invisible. They happen inside your mind. Winning without fighting is an art most people never learn because our instincts tell us to push back to prove ourselves, to show we're right. But what does that give you? Maybe a moment of pride, but at what cost? Your energy, your peace. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. Strength isn't about overpowering others, it's about mastering yourself. When you refuse to be baited, when you walk away instead of exploding, when you hold your ground without raising your voice, that is victory. And here's the thing, those who try to provoke you expect resistance. They prepare for noise, not for silence. When you give them nothing, you take away the only weapon they have, control. And while they waste their days shouting, you're building something lasting: character, wisdom, freedom. That's how you win without lifting a finger, by living so fully, so calmly that their chaos cannot touch you. Thank you for watching. If today's message spoke to you, share this video with someone who needs it, subscribe if you haven't yet, and tell me in the comments. Which part of this lesson hit home for you? I read every single one. Until next time, stay strong, stay calm, and remember, your peace is your greatest power.